Hey, one and all, it's your pal Drew Dracy. I'm back with some more comics from my spinner rack. Well, Shogun Warriors. What's funny about this is with certain comics, they can be considered too juvenile after a while. Like, I kind of grew out of this. Just like He-Man and G.I. Joe and Transformers didn't do anything for me because I was so sophisticated in my teens. And I won't do that voice again, I promise. But I had Ray Dean like 3 years prior to when this came out. So between that and Herb Trimpey's art, I had to get it. It lasted 20 issues, and it's a lot of fun because Herb Trippey has an incredible talent for having a sense of scale, like doing big. And Doug Mensch wrote the whole series, and Mensch and Trimpey also did the Godzilla, like 20 issues. Got Dan Green on his anchor. I love that guy. I love the colors. It's so creepy. And here we go. We got Dangar Ace. Now, this is before Transformers, so a lot of people made a fuss about Transformers, but maybe because that was an American toy, I don't know. And these were harder to come by. I had a Ray Dean who was about 2 feet tall, and shot this little like bird type bomb out of his chest, and his fist would pop off, and it was pretty cool. I liked it. And these are the pilots, the individual pilots of the each character. And Trimpey's really putting a lot of fun into this. I think they did this Marvel style. Here we go. Everybody's there. And he folds from the bird shape he was. See on top to Ray Dean. Love that. So, but yeah, mine didn't do that. But they didn't really transform. But they did have parts that would come off. So yeah, look at that. It could have been, who knows? It could have been as big as Micronauts if it was handled differently, or I don't know. Maybe it was. Is it Toho as well as Godzilla is? It's a Toko. I'm not even trying to say it. So just limited licensing, and Micronauts pretty much died right away as a toy line, and it was more known as a comic book, just like Rom Space Knight. And I just like it. I like that. That's great. Popping the head off right there and flying in. Sweet. Come on, you. So there's lots of action in it. There's some issues where there's way too much yada yada yada. And, it's Shogun Warriors. They're giant robots. And the Crimson Avenger from Secret Origins number 5 by Roy Thomas, Gene Colan, and Mike Gustovich. I love this. This character was sort of based on a lot of the characters at the time in the wake of the Shadow and the Green Hornet. He's probably closest to the Green Hornet, where he's a rich guy and he has like an Asian driver who also fights. But any of the tropes of the old days with the, it's kind of updated, but not updated in a way that's taking you away from what the character's origins are. But he runs a paper, he's a publisher, and he takes advice from his Asian driver. He said, I got to hand it to our man in Geneva 2 days before it's official. He sure stumbled on a good story this time. No, sir. What was that, driver? I didn't hear. I said, surely no good. No could be good. When more than 3 million Chinese have died in only a little more than a year of fighting. And he goes on and on. This, it adds a framework to where he's not just like the stereotype going, I saw, whatever he has his own opinions and he's voicing them. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Gene Colan work. This didn't last very long. I think it was a little too late in the Titans run. So the origin has this character. He's going to a costume ball, and he ordered a costume, and it's sitting on the desk, and he throws it on. He says, cross between the Lone Ranger and the Phantom of the Opera. Look at that. Oof. Mike Gustovich is a great inker on Colan. I don't think I've ever seen him ink Colan before. I know because I follow Colan a lot. So anyway, they're having this party, and this woman screams, "The Martians have landed right here in New Jersey." They think she has too much to drink. I just heard the news flash on the radio inside. So a lot of people are alarmed at War of the Worlds, which, if you're a young fella or gal, it was the creation of Orson Welles, the great Orson Welles, as a radio show, but it was never revealed that it was just a radio show. And between his his strong voice and serious manner, there were a lot of people across the country that really thought we were being invaded by Martians, and some of them did some drastic things. And but this woman says, "You ought to know that the announcer is really the radio actor Orson Welles." Because this is around the time that Crimson Avenger shows up. So I thought that was a really good tie-in. So, and here come the aliens. I like this face right in the middle here, where the way her mouth is shaped. That's a great, great image. So these fake aliens, they're just guys in costumes that try to trick everybody. I love that panel too, with the big foot in the foreground. So, really cool stuff. "You two all right? Who are you?" "Name's Bill Doc. This is my farm you're on, son. I heard gunfire, figured them Martians was getting mighty close. Guess I got one of those buzzards, huh? Because more or less, I'm afraid they're as human as you are." And there you go, wrapping up with Orson Welles. A really good likeness by Gene Colan. And it happened to be, just as this was being written, Orson Welles had passed away. So it's a loving memory to him, dedicated to respect to the memory of Orson Welles, 1915-1985. And we go on to Stalker, a great book. Only lasted 4 issues. It was DC was trying to do a bunch of barbarian-related books, like Warlord was a hit, so they did Claw the Unconquered and such. So this was Steve Ditko and Wally Wood. I was going to say Wallywood. I kept going back and forth, and I said Wallywood most of my life. Besides, the credits say that. Boy, is that beautiful. I love this creature. And Wood is just he's just magnificent. I know he probably wasn't content with just inking for a lot of his stuff, but whatever he inks turns into Wally Wood. That's a good thing. And at this point, Ditko was inking himself a little too heavily. That's a great, like that last panel. Wow, you can see so much wood in that. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here's the barbarians. Well, not the barbarian there, but Claw, Tor, Stalker, Warlord, Beowulf, and Kong. Anytime I see Beowulf, I always think of there's an old Looney Tunes sound effect with Beowulf. So I thought I'd impress you with my memory. Dun, dun, dun. He was his generation, Steven Seagal. Really fun stuff. I love the effect on the legs, the chainmail. It's just implied. And around this time, also, I think, yeah, it was like a few months earlier, Ditko and Wood worked on 4 issues of the Destructor for Atlas Comics, the one in the mid-70s where they were trying to, Chip Goodman and Martin Goodman were trying to take over from Marvel. It failed miserably. And there was some other stuff they worked on together, and they make such a great team. So, okay, here's another book that I should have aged out on, but it's Team America, and I just love motorcycles. I was huge on the Ghost Rider. Some of the stories of Ghost Rider in the middle part, they were kind of shitty, but you know, I grew up with muscle cars and motorcycles being part of Americana, and you know, this is hokey, but it's a video game place. This is by Mike Vosberg and no, Luke McDonald. I think it's one of his earliest jobs. Period. Of Bill Mantlo, a scripter, and Vinnie Coletta. He goes like that. He goes honk honk. What the blue blaze is that? Huh? Oh, I don't know what that is. Some other occasion. Sorry, everybody. But what really grabbed me though was the first issue. Is they showed a black-clad character called the Marauder, and he's what I liked most of it. So this is kind of weird. These video games, they're using kids to power them. It's so ridiculous, you know, but whatever. So there's 3 members of Team America, and El Lobo the Wolf. So it's going to kick some ass. He's like, oh, fancy guy, you know, slumming it here. But nice art. It's a little dead flat because of Vinnie Coletta. Yeah, this is what came aside. Yeah, Ghost Rider. Boy, it really got good there with Bob Budiansky. You got Roger Stern and John Romita Jr. And Ed Hannigan on Peter Parker. And towards the tail end of Marvel 2-in-1, it kind of got crappy. But I got all the issues. Lots of action. There's an ad for Bob Layton's Hercules. That's too cool. When I saw an ad, I was just like, whoa. And I came out on the stands like a week or 2 later. So, here he is, the Marauder. He does crazy, impossible things. And they keep his identity a secret till issue 12. There's Bob Layton again. A close and personal friend of mine. So you get a little bit of Marvel Masterworks pinups. So now we leap ahead a couple of decades to X-Force Annual 1998. Now, in this era, they combined two characters or toward 2 teams for their annuals, because it's 1998 and Marvel was really suffering. DC was suffering. Everybody was, because you had the big glut and speculator boom of the 90s, and then finally when people realized everybody had a copy of X-Force #1 or Spider-Man #1. They didn't have anybody to sell it to. Then the collapse happened. So this was sort of what they did is they had like a Daredevil, Deadpool, combination annual, and they had a Captain America, Iron Man annual. So this had the champions. What's interesting though is Marvel really they didn't have the right for the name of champions for a comic because they let the name lapse. They had the name through the 70s. They just never got around to doing new champions, and then late 80s, late 80s, there was a role-playing game that was called Champions, and they had a great cover by George Perez, and just all kinds of stuff going on. And when Marvel wanted to do Champions again, they couldn't use the name because they waited too long. But over time, even more time, like 20 more years, they finally were able to do Champions with a whole different group of people. But wraparound cover by Terry Shoemaker. I like that. I hate this lettering though. I hate it. That was a big thing around this time because it competes with the artwork. It should not do so. So it's written by Tom and Mary Bierbaums, who have done. They're most known for Legion of Superheroes stuff in the early '90s. And Terry Shoemaker, I inked him 3 pages on Heroes Reborn Iron Man, the last issue. I did a page of Galactus, one of Hulk and Iron Man. So I found these really annoying. But I know it's a good idea. It probably cost them a fortune. But it's like the cover doesn't touch there. And it's silly. I just had to share that with you. I love the art though. Terry Shoemaker took over on Legion of Superheroes in the late 80s, I think, when Steve Lytle moved over to Doom Patrol. So I like the faces here. They're very distinct. This big hand comes out of the ground. There's Hercules. I was never that keen on that outfit, but that's okay. But he doesn't have a full beard. He has like a stubble. A lot of story going on here, but it's a good read though. I'm not going to dissuade you. It's just I can't encapsulate it. Here they come. Here's the one thing. I was skimming this, reading most of it, and I couldn't figure out why these ex-members of the Champions got together. There's no real understanding. It's like somebody made a call out to some people, but it'd been so long since they'd been together. Like, these two were stuck with the X-Men and Johnny Blaze, pretty cool, and Black Widow. I mean, it seems a little contrived that they would show up, but you know what? That's why I bought the book. And real nice reunion here. Like old times, this is we 5 soldiers of valor united once more against evil. Herc, aren't you forgetting something? To save the world, there is time enough for that young Drake. No, immortal one, shouldn't you introduce us to your friends? And there they are. And I love that face, as small as it is. That's Siren, who is Banshee's daughter or niece or something. She has the same powers. And she has that Irish look to her. It's like, because my wife has that kind of smile and sparkle in her eyes. And it just reminds me of her. It's a very Irish looking face. And lots of neat stuff going on. See, they have Pluto, who was Hercules' nemesis, and they have Hades, who just showed up to team up. I like the faces. I like the knot on her head there. I mean, not furrow of her brow. So good stuff. Good stuff. And there it goes. So does that mean you're a team? The Defenders are a team once more? Champions. We're the champions. And no, we're not a team again. We're just going to move on with our lives. And by Zeus, we can still mete out a little justice just like we did in the old days. Better than the old days. And Johnny Blaze got that attitude. I said, get that microphone out of my face. Of course, Miss Blade. Anything you say? That's a question left to the authorities. I'm not sure I believe the answer. So that's it. If you have any questions about this, and I recommend it, you can get it for, all these for next month. Team America, do you still think it's cheesy? Even though it is kind of cheesy, but, you should give it a try. At least one or two of them. And did you grow up with Shogun Warriors? Whether it was the toys or the comics. And the Crimson Avenger. Really cool character. Really good stuff. Anything Thomas and Gene Colan and Stalker with Ditko and Wally Wood. So this one guy was commenting on it in my last episode. I was kind of being silly, and he didn't want to hear Wallace Wood. I get that, because I always call him Wally. I was trying to be like the hip youngster kids who don't know how to say his name. So that's it, everybody. Have a great day.